Good day. Before we start, make sure to subscribe if you think it makes sense. This channel looks beyond headlines to uncover how narratives are shaped. Today, we revisit the story of Dezi Freeman, a manhunt, a media storm, and a nation divided. As of October 2025, the search continues, though the story has shifted from urgency to uncertainty. So, how much of what we think we know is actually true? The Freeman case has become one of the most discussed in modern Australia. It began with a fatal shooting near Porpunka that left 2 police officers dead. Since then, Freeman has been portrayed as everything from outlaw to martyr. But behind the headlines lies a deeper question: who shaped that perception? And how has it evolved over time? The Victorian police search once involved more than 450 officers. Now only around 200 remain active as the hunt enters its latest phase. There have been over 1,400 public tips, none confirmed sightings. Each lead sparks a new round of headlines, speculation, and online debate. This is no longer just a criminal case. It's a national narrative. From major outlets like ABC News and The Age to social platforms, the story has grown layers. Freeman's identity, ideology, and disappearance have all been framed differently. Some portray him as a symbol of defiance, others as a broken man in retreat. Between those versions, the truth has become blurred. Let's start by tracing how the media helped construct the Dezi Freeman enigma. In the first days after the shootings, 7 News and the Herald Sun led with one word: killer. They emphasized Freeman's anti-authority stance and called him a sovereign citizen. The tone was direct, even aggressive, creating an immediate sense of threat. Images of helicopters over bushland filled screens nationwide. The man and the chase became inseparable. Other outlets took a different approach. ABC News and SBS described him as a reclusive man from Benalla, adding caution to their reporting. They noted Freeman's isolation, bushcraft skills, and rejection of government institutions. Yet even balanced reporting carried subtle cues of ideology and fear. The first picture of Freeman was being painted before context caught up. That's the power of language in early reporting. Once a label sticks, it anchors every future update. Each phrase, fugitive, extremist, loner, shaped emotional perception. Headlines led audiences toward judgment long before full details emerged. And repetition made those words feel factual, even when incomplete. Social media accelerated that process. Clips from press conferences were re-edited, gaining millions of views on TikTok and X. Some users portrayed Freeman as a folk figure. Others mocked him as unstable. The tone of each post reflected the creator's bias, not the case's facts. By the end of week 1, the narrative had escaped journalism entirely. Freeman's story shows how quickly objectivity can erode under pressure. Once a case becomes symbolic, nuance dies fast. The more people argued online, the more extreme each side became. That tension would define every update that followed. Coming up next, the first media framing, and how it still shapes discussion today. From the start, traditional outlets leaned on the anti-authority frame, and News and The Age emphasized Freeman's links to sovereign citizen beliefs. They highlighted his refusal to recognize police legitimacy and government systems. In doing so, they placed him in a pre-built category of danger. That framing made complex motives seem ideological, not personal. This choice shaped how the public viewed the manhunt. Helicopter shots and crime scene maps dominated broadcasts. Audiences were told to expect confrontation, not surrender. Language like armed fugitive and on the run made conflict feel inevitable. Few questioned whether those words were assumptions or evidence. Meanwhile, The Guardian raised early ethical concerns. Its coverage asked whether releasing footage of the shooting was necessary or harmful. Victoria Police condemned the leaks, calling them a violation of dignity. Still, major channels aired blurred stills to boost ratings. The story became as much about media behavior as about Freeman himself. In this environment, police briefings carried extra weight. Every official statement generated dozens of interpretations. A single phrase, no confirmed sightings, was turned into wild speculation. Public imagination filled the gaps that journalism left open. The first impression became the permanent lens. The result was polarization. To some, Freeman was a violent extremist. To others, a hunted recluse. Facts struggled to compete with emotion. Once the media defined his image, the internet amplified it. And amplification would soon turn distortion. In recent weeks, the Freeman story has changed tone. It's no longer only about the search, it's about the voices filling the silence. Family members have begun speaking publicly, challenging old assumptions. Their words add dimension to a man long reduced to a headline. For the first time, emotion competes with ideology. Freeman's brother, James Philby, told news.com.au he believes Dezi is gone. He said his brother likely died somewhere in the Mount Buffalo bush. In a post later shared by online commentators, he wrote of cold, lonely, fearful and sad final moments. He imagined Dezi wanting to remain hidden, never to be found by police, whether true or not. Those words reframed the story in grief. Freeman's nephew, Luke Philby, gave detailed interviews to ABC News and the Herald Sun. He described a man struggling with inner anger and mental health issues long before the shootings. Luke said Dezi avoided doctors, distrusted institutions, and isolated himself during the pandemic. He explained that the family had distanced themselves years earlier. His remarks turned the narrative from politics to personal decline. Then came Koa Freeman, Dezi's son, speaking directly to the cameras. He pleaded, if he's still out there, come back, turn yourself in. Koa told the Nightly that Mount Buffalo was familiar ground for his father, a place he'd hiked since age 16. He said his dad could live off the land like Rambo, yet admitted doubt that he was still alive. It was both pride and heartbreak in one sentence. Koa's tone carried the weight of realism. He recognized the terrain's danger and the toll of time. His plea cut through the noise of online speculation. For a moment, the national conversation sounded human again. The chase turned, briefly, into reflection. Meanwhile, police confirmed no verified sighting or forensic trace. More than 200 officers remain active, far fewer than the 450 at the peak. Authorities urge restraint and ask the public to ignore rumors. But each family comment sparks new waves of coverage. Emotion has replaced adrenaline as the story's engine. This shift shows how narratives evolve with fatigue. When mystery endures, the public seeks closure. Any closure. Media attention now toggles between survival theories and memorial tones. The Freeman case has crossed from investigation into interpretation. And that transition says as much about us as it does about him. Today, the search continues across Victoria's alpine bushland. But the manhunt has become more than an operational effort. It's a mirror reflecting how stories evolve under public scrutiny. Every outlet, from 7 News' urgency to ABC's restraint, built its own version of events. Audiences, in turn, chose the version that felt most believable. The result is a fragmented truth. To some, Freeman remains a dangerous outlaw. To others, he is a lost soul consumed by belief and isolation. Both portraits emerged from selective framing, repetition, and emotion, and neither fully matches the complexity of the man described by his family. For James Philby, the story has already ended. For Koa, it's a plea for peace. For Luke, it's a caution about untreated anger and ideology. Their combined voices challenge the caricature built by months of coverage. They remind the audience that every symbol was once a person. Media analysts now use the case as a lesson in perception. They point to headline patterns, imagery, and tonal shifts across networks. Early urgency gave way to exhaustion. Certainty turned into speculation. Each phase changed public opinion without new evidence. It's a cycle that defines the digital news age. For the public, the takeaway is responsibility. Before sharing, reacting, or judging, ask what version of truth you're consuming. Is it confirmed or curated? Is it journalism or performance? The Freeman saga proves that distinction still matters. As the official search narrows, the story's echo grows louder online. Documentaries, podcasts, and comment threads keep rewriting the narrative. Whether Freeman is alive or not, his image will endure, shaped by us. We built the myth together, one post, one share, one opinion at a time. And that collective authorship may be his lasting legacy, so when the next story breaks, pause before reacting. Remember Dezi Freeman, not for the mystery, but for what it revealed about perception. Truth doesn't always arrive with breaking news. Sometimes it unfolds in silence, and only patience can separate reporting from rumor. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shape what we believe.